Yo, GM. Give me a quick GM in the chat if you guys can hear me, if the volume is good, if everything is clear. How's everybody doing today? Getting a bunch of GMs, a bunch of familiar faces, which is something we love to see. Munar says GM, buddy. It's good to see you. Oh, I see a new face. Alex Thenteri says GM. I apologize if I butchered that name. I hope I didn't. Good buddy Mason in the house. GM boss. GM to you too. Another new face. Kimberly. GM. Hello. We got a lady in the house today. I hope that you're a lady or that I'm not just calling you a lady and you're a dude with a Kim name. So apologize if I just fucked that up. But anyways, it's good to see you. Welcome to the show. Everyone's saying loud and clear. Power Naps is saying GM. And by the way, don't care either way, but if I did butcher that, I apologize to you, Kimberly. I see that we've got, she says, yes, lady in the house. I think you might be the very first lady that's joined us. Welcome. We're happy to have you here. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining us. I see Radu779, another familiar face. Says GM, everyone. Welcome. I just need to send out a few quick notes to people so that everyone knows that we're live. Let me just do that really quick, and we'll get underway. How's everybody feeling today? I mean, it's a little bit of red for the majors the last couple of days, and we tend to like to do these streams for some reason when there's blood in the markets. So here we are. Figured what better time than to do one now. Let me just post some of these things and we'll get to it. I do have to say the AFM community has been growing quite strong. Which I love to see. I mean, the whole vision behind starting up the live stream series and starting the AFM or Astrology For Men community and Telegram group was so that I could give back and pay forward everything that I've learned over the years from marking up these charts. And just the growth of the community has been really beautiful to watch and to be a part of. And it's sort of what I had envisioned when I set out to do this. Is to see people's growth, help them on their education trajectory so that they could, when they look at a chart, they could on their own see what it is that I'm seeing, and help them understand charts from a way that is very straightforward and not overcomplicated like a lot of analysis tends to do. I have this phrase that goes, it's simple but not easy. All the concepts that we do are very easy. All the concepts that we do are very simple, but none of it is easy. It takes repetition and a lot of time sat with the charts, but you can use the knowledge and years of work that I've put in to make it a little more streamlined and easier to grasp on a shorter time scale. And that's the whole goal. And just seeing the commitment from some people that have really stepped it up in the community has been really great to watch. Just recently, a couple of days ago, I reached out to a core group of the guys that I've noticed that have been showing up every day, and asked them if they wanted to become admins in the group and take on a little bit more responsibility. Which they all were eager to do. These are people that have been showing up daily, asking questions, putting their work out there, not afraid to get things wrong, to make mistakes, and for me to help highlight how I would have done my analysis differently and why it is that I'm looking at things a certain way and why those triggers work and whatnot. And their growth has been incredible. Like just this to witness them piece together things and unlock parts of the chart that before had been a little bit foreign, in the similar manner that it did for me a few years ago when I really developed this hybrid approach system that I use. Okay, I've shared it around a few places. I don't think I need to. You know what, let me just share it in a few more places because I know there's a few people that are always interested to watch. And the goal that we're on is to grow the community even further and get more people interested and active in the community and in learning. So we might as well share it around in as many places as possible. Okay, I think I've shared it to enough places. Actually, one last place I need to do it is into the ChainEDGE Discord. Oh no, I already did that. That was one of the first places I did. Okay, so I think we're good. I've done enough posting. We can get on track here because that was a lot of me rambling, not really saying much. Okay, I see another new face. Hi, says Alain. GP, are you a fan of Formula One, or is that just not related at all? DeFi says, yo, what's good? Uzair says, GM to you as well. And Racing Lab says, hope I'm not too late. Not at all. We are just starting. We are just getting going. I can see we've got 15 people live in the stream right now. Amazing. Love to see it. We seem to be getting the floor for the amount of people that are joining us during these live streams seems to be growing each time, which is really wonderful to see that it's starting to resonate with a lot of people and you're picking up the techniques and learning a lot from what we're doing with the streams. Let's move along. Okay, I need to do a few things before we do that. First and foremost, my name is 0xRapture. This is Astrology for Men. We are brought to you by The Daily Edge. Let me pop these things up. thedailyedge.com/subscribe. We are your daily newsletter with actionable intel, insights, and information from the market from the previous day, distilled to you in about a 5-minute read that you can get through it really quickly and then move on with your day so you can get brought up to speed with what's occurred, the places where you should be focusing your attention, the coins that have been important, the trends that are important, where the attention in the market is focused. It's written by the legendary onchain wizard, my partner in the Daily Edge media company that we have, as well the brainchild behind ChainEDGE, which is our other partner. Reminder that links are in the description below. ChainEDGE.io is an on-chain analytics platform tracking the top 0.01% of DEX wallets by profitability, all done in real time. It's a wonderful platform that about a year ago I first became a member of, and I enjoyed it so much and liked the platform so much and the vision behind what Onchain Wizard was trying to build. I joined the company, and it's been a real pleasure to be a part of and to witness the growth of the platform and all the new additions that we've added, such as the attention dashboard. Here, let's pop that up for a second. I can pull this up. And here we go. Here's our ChainEDGE platform, with some of our new additions being the attention dashboard that tracks attention in the market across CT, so across crypto Twitter, as well as Telegram groups and channels, and volume on the coins, and then it spits out a score of coins with the top attention in the market, which is usually a pretty good indicator of where you should be placing your attention and potentially taking trades. As well as there's some other new features that we've incorporated recently, like the early investors panel, which I haven't played around with too much yet, but I imagine it's going to become more and more powerful as the market turns up, where you can select 2 previous coins and find out what buyers of those 2 coins that have like done well. So you pick coins that have, gone up a lot, and it'll show you where the early investors in those tokens have been directing their capital. And what else do we have that's new? Well, we also have the Twitter follows on the main page, the social score, which tracks smart follows in real time across Twitter. There's a bunch of metrics behind how we score all that, but needless to say, it's putting the right information in front of you at the right time. And we'll dig into some of that stuff a little bit later, but I feel like I am dragging on a little bit here. Let's see if there's been any comments in the chat. And Racing Lab says, GM got, oh no, I already did that one, sorry. Here's a quick question. Alan asks, any advice for noobs where to start with ChainEDGE and on-chain trading? I've used your link for blogs, but about to fund it soon. Well, my advice specifically for ChainEDGE would be hop in the ChainEDGE Discord, start asking questions. Everyone there is really friendly and helpful. You'll get to interact with On-Chain Wizard himself. I mean, it's his tooling, so he's always there. Not always, but he's in there frequently answering questions and helping guide people to use the tooling. But everyone in there is super helpful, and we're always eager to show different ways of using the platform, because it's not a signal service. It is still, it's a data center, right? Like you take the data in and you incorporate it into your workflow the best way possible and figure out how it's going to be used to your advantage and to find out your edge. But you're monitoring real-time flows on the on-chain to see where profitable wallets, historically quite profitable wallets, are parking their money. Let's move along. I got Crep, good to see you. GM, and my good buddy Too Tall. GM, buddy, thanks for coming. Appreciate it. I appreciate you showing up. Always a pleasure. Okay, so let's get rid of this screen. And as you guys know, I like to start the show by taking a quick look at the majors. So let's just do a quick scan there. We're not going to spend too much time, but we'll just take a look and see what majors are doing. Let me shift this. There we go, full screen. I mean, it's been a little bit of red for the last couple of days. It had a nice bounce off of that sell-off from early August, which is, more than recovered. But we've ran up into some overhead supply, and then with some more war FUD the other day, we had a bit of a sell-off, but then we landed right into demand. So we're finding support here now. Is that going to hold? And are we going to see a bit of green this weekend? I mean, BTC green on the day. Love to see it. ETH's been struggling still, little buddy. Come on. But we're into demand. And Solana, I mean, these 2 zones have been marked out for months. And look at how much they've been respected repeatedly since, when is this? July. So, I mean, once you start understanding the concepts and you apply it, especially on higher time frame, like the signals are quite reliable. But we're not here to look at majors, so we're going to move right along. We're into our winter's arc, and a little bit of blood in the streets, a little bit of blood in the charts doesn't faze us. This is what we're born for, what we're here for, to find opportunity. So let me stop sharing this, and we'll take a look at the watch list. Let me pull that up, and we can take a look at what we're dealing with. Got a pretty extensive list today, and I'm gonna have to fly through them because I do have a hard stop a little under 2 hours from now. I know that sounds like a long time, but we tend to fill these 2 hours with every live stream. So I do have to move it along a little bit swiftly today. Let's see, here's the watch list that we're working with. Got 28 coins. I don't know that we're going to get through all of them, or I'm going to have to move through them pretty quickly so that we can get through them all. It's a combination of chart requests as well as some of the portfolio alerts that have come into ChainEDGE over the last couple of days. That's also a new addition to ChainEDGE, was the portfolio alerts, which is tokens 0 to 5 days old. So new tokens that gain a balance of 100K dollar-wise held by smart money. And it tends to be a magical threshold that when wallets are holding a minimum balance of 100K value of a token, they tend to go up after. Now, under these more bullish conditions that we've had for the last few weeks, bar the last couple days, the alerts have been firing off quite a bit. So they've been acting a little bit more as early warning triggers than the original intention of the portfolio alerts, but nonetheless, they're still working. And have been providing wonderful opportunities to take trades off of. So we've got a combination of some of the recent tokens on there, as well as chart requests, as well as some of the ones that we've been working on in the AFM TG group in the new sort of war room that we've started in the last 48 hours, which is for the guys that have been in the chat actively hunting, the guys that I brought on as some of the admins, where we can chat and get to work and monitor and keep track of plays and setups in real time. So we've got each other's back and we're not missing things. That channel is open to view for any member of the AFM TG group, but it's right access restricted to only admins, just to keep it less cluttered, because the group was becoming a little bit cluttered and overwhelming to some people that are a little bit more casual participants that may be showing up just to take a look at some setups that have high probability on higher time frame and move on with their day. Well, it was getting a little bit difficult to stay on top of that. So we decided to start that sort of subsection. And it's not a closed door by any means. If we notice that people are showing up every day and putting in the work and learning the systems and willing to learn and ask questions and are starting to show promise, then that door is open. It's not a closed door by any means. It's just to keep it a little less cluttered and a little bit more controlled. It's just a core little group of us, and really appreciate the guys that I've invited in to be admins and to be a part of that, because it's been a really nice experience and rewarding for why it is that I do all this stuff. You know, people may ask, like, why are you? Because the live streams, the group, all of that's I do for free. And people might wonder, like, why am I doing that? Well, because when I was early in my journey, things like that really fucking helped me. And now I know how to analyze a chart and use my own principles and systems, and taking things from a variety of top level traders to incorporate into the system that I use. And I just want to pay that forward, because had I not had guys like Trader Main or Big Cheds or Crypto Cred and Emperor BTC and a few others really showing the way and being open about how it is that they trade in their systems, and I'd be fucking lost right now, and I wouldn't have unlocked what it is that I've unlocked. So I want to be able to help other people see that and be able to do the same thing that I do, because it is a repeatable and learnable skill. That is the main thing. Like, once you learn and unlock the system, and you can of course apply your own variations to it and things that you've picked up along the way and different techniques that you particularly like, because there's many different ways to look at a chart and to set up a chart and to take a trade. Just specifically the system that I'm using is not the only system. There's many different ways. But the beauty of it is you can transition that to any market in any condition. It doesn't have to be crypto. It can be equities. It can be Forex, any market. So this is a repeatable skill that you can learn and you can take with yourself for the rest of your life and be able to make money whenever and wherever you want, provided you have access to the internet and there's a market to trade. You can trade it. Anyways, enough of that rant. Let's take a look at what we've got, because it's quite an extensive list. Let's sort by volume, as you guys know that we like to do, and we'll start ripping through it. So the title of today's stream was winter. Actually, what is the title of today's stream? Let me see. The title of today's stream, apologies. Winter arc makes the man. And there was a coin launch recently called Winter that is doing quite well that we'll take a look at. But also in the banner, you can see there's a little fellow in there, Pochita, who popped up yesterday as a relative to Bonk and sort of turned the entire market into a PvP fest across chain both on ETH and Solana, and I think I saw on a couple other chains as well. Or about 10 or so different coins were vying for the top spot. But this seems to be the one that's emerged as the leader. So let's clear it up, take a look fresh, as we like to do. You guys know that I like to walk the analysis so that every time when you catch one of these streams, you can see the technique and learn it, because it's all through repetition that this becomes unlocked. So let's go to the high. Let's start higher time frame, see what we got. Okay, so H4, we can already see we had a higher high. So let's place that at key swing level there. You guys know that I like to mark some of those off with this the horizontal ray, so that it keeps it as a permanent fixture as you go through doing analysis. We can also put one up here for the all-time high. Okay. Immediately what I'm seeing on this H1 chart is we've got our H1 demand right here. You had a swing high that had a swing low, creating a higher high. So here's your hourly range. Oh, actually, you know what? The bottom of the range is actually right here, according to Deck Screener, just based off of where the swing low is. So there's your swing low. Here's your swing high on hourly. There's your market structure. It's bullish market structure, creating higher highs. There's your hourly range. We're into demand now, so you're looking for something in this demand to create a higher low and to potentially go to new all-time highs. What would I look for triggers? I mean, because it's still low time frame on hourly, you have to be pretty nimble, right? Like what we could be looking for is some sort of a sweep on a lower time frame, like M15, like maybe that's trying to put in right there. That's something I'd monitor, although it's looking a little bit heavier. Or we just look for the fractals, like, you know, we're looking for a higher high sequence, especially when we're going counter trend, because you can see M15 created a lower low here, even though the H1, the hourly, is still higher highs and bullish. The M15 is counter trend to that. As you guys know, we like to go a higher time frame and then a lower time frame. And what you're looking for is to catch the bottom of the counter trend on the lower time frame to find the higher low to go realign with the higher time frame structure, so that you're trading with the trend instead of against the trend. You know, you get movement like this, and FOMOing into a move like that is usually not the best idea. You can normally 9 times out of 10 find some sort of higher low where you're buying with the trend instead of potentially into a top. So what I see here is, okay, the M15 actually made a lower low. So we don't have that yet, but I'd be monitoring this for some sort of either a sweep of a level, because now we know, okay, we've got the top of an M15 bearish range here, even though it's bullish H1, like we're waiting for the reversal point, right? So we just have to monitor. We didn't get the sweep there, so it did make another M15 lower low. So what I'd watch is just to continue following along this and find out what happens. It may even end up just being all the way to the bottom of the range, as Solana coins tend to do. You guys know that I've talked about this before. Solana loves to test the bottom of a range and make you think, oh, fuck, we're going to die out here. And then it just magically goes on and does a 10x from there. So something I'd be monitoring. You know, you have to wait for a few closes, because at the moment we don't really know where the swing low is on this, because if the swing low is put in here on M15 and you get a little mini M15 range here, you could play a bottom of the range potentially as a sweep to go long and catch that reversal, but it's still a little bit early. But we're into a good place here. Like, I would keep my eyes on Pochita. And this is the primary one at around 20 mil market cap, just under. So make sure there's like a lot of them out there. So make sure you're focusing on the correct ones and not the ones that are going down. So yeah, M15, just keep an eye out on there. We could even, since it's only an H1 chart we're tracking, we could maybe even look on M5, but M5 is doing the same exact range as M15. So you're not going to gain much early notice off of M5 versus M15. So I'd stick to M15, which just means 15-minute chart. It's old school trader talk, like a H1, H4, M5, M15. That's just old school trader talk. That's kind of stuck with me from the guys that I learned from. But you can also call it the 4 hour, or whatever makes sense to you. But when I say stuff like that, that's what I mean. I put an M before a number, that's the minute chart and the denomination of that minute chart, and an H before a number, that's the hourly chart. Okay, moving along. Any questions on that one? Let's just take a quick look. No questions so far. Racing Lab says BTC is shaking people out before the real uptrend. I mean, we've done a lot of these shakeouts. I try not to think too much about macro and what the majors are doing. I just use it as a general sentiment gauge. But I try not to think about the intraday movements of those, because that's not what I'm trading. Like, I have my core bags of ETH and SOL that I'm going to hold long term and trade in and out of. And what we do is we use shitcoins as leverage on those plays, right? You're just dialing up the leverage and buying a coin that has higher volatility, and then you rotate back into your core bags and you repeat, rinse and repeat. So I try not to think too much about the majors. Yes, there's war FUD going on, but 9 times out of 10, buying the war FUD or any macro FUD is usually rewarded, unless we're on some sort of global shift, like the monetary policy from the US back in the end of 2021, where the entire landscape shifted. I think a little war is not going to be an issue for us. Let's move along to the ETH pochita. I think we may just skip over this. I mean, bonk, the relative of pochita, like this is the new dog of the bonk owner, is what I heard, or some shit like that. Who knows? Fuck, I could find out, but I don't really care that much. Bonk is a Solana coin. So yes, this ETH one had a run, but at the end of the day, and I mentioned this in the AFMTG group, even though I did some analysis on this, I made mention at one point, I was like, bonk is a Solana coin. I don't know why I'd want to play the ETH one. Well, here we are. So let's remove this, because no one should be trading this now. Yes, you can find relief bounces, and we did lay out this setup yesterday where it came in for a tag. But focus your efforts. Like, you want to be trading with the market and not choosing the path of most resistance. You want to choose the path of least resistance. Manyu, little Manyu. Okay, let's start fresh. This has been quite a bullish coin. It's been moving counter to the nuke of the majors. Here's H12. Let's take a look even higher daily. Okay, so daily, immediately. Daily is in a bullish structure, making higher highs. Mark off the top. Making higher highs. It's into daily demand right now, but we can zero in because that daily demand zone is a massive one. Even H12, the demand is massive. But what we can say is, okay, we have this area of H12 demand. In this area, in this demand zone, we are looking to find the higher low, which is 9/10 of what we do with the system that I use and that I teach. Here's your H12 range, is buying the higher low. Like, yes, we can look for sweeps of range bottoms, especially when you're trying to go counter trend in a bearish range. Is to look for a sweep of the range low to try and catch the move from the bottom of the range to the top of the range, and potentially the bullish market structure flip. But 9/10 of what we do is trying to find the higher low. Because as I teach, and that I was really drilled home to me by Trader Main, was you want to be buying with the trend. I mean, so many people say this. The trend is your friend, right? Well, it's a meme and a saying for a reason, because it's fucking true. So something that we had here. We're on H4 now. H4 did print a lower low, but it's into the H12 demand. So we're not going to stress too much about the H4, because as we teach, the higher time frame is the cleaner signal, the higher quality signal. And what do I see here? H4, that I actually pointed this out in the AFMTG. We put in an H4 sweep of this swing level, this interim swing level. Actually, it was an H4 swing low, but we put in a sweep here within the H12 broader demand, and that sweep is being used as a trigger catalyst to try and go higher. So Manyu, very bullish. H12 demand, it's actually a daily demand even, which is, some of the highest signal you can get outside of, monthly or weekly. But generally, we're not trading coins in that sort of time frame. I mean, we do look at some on that time frame, but overall, we're trying to trade new shit that has a lot of volatility. Well, there was your trigger, and I pointed this out. If you were a member of the AFMTG, I pointed this out maybe 2 hours ago. I said, here could be your entry. We're getting a sweep right now. Well, there we go, and we're getting that reaction. And if you're curious what a sweep is, versus an SFP. There was actually some discussion about that in the AFM today. So you can dig in there and ask questions. By the way, anyone interested in joining the AFM TG group, please remember that links are in the description. It already says that, links in the description below. Well, please remember that you can find them in there. Let's get rid of that for now, though, so you can see the whole screen. See if there's any questions in the meantime. Here's one. They say the trend is your friend, but the trend is really your best friend. Yes, buying with the trend makes your job 70% easier because you're not trying to catch a falling knife. Now, nothing about the system that I teach is about catching a falling knife ever. That's literally not at all what we're about. We try to either find the higher low, or once a bearish range is formed, by a sweep of that range low so that you're catching a potential move back to the top of the range. Because once a range is formed, it tends to trade the range until something happens, like a lower low or a higher high, which either continues the trend or shifts the trend. So I never advise for catching a falling knife. It's a real great way to chop up your capital. It's a good way to claim clout if you know, the one time out of 10 that you actually nail it on a knife catch and you're posting these things to your socials, but like, it's a real great way to chop up your capital. So, you know, it's not something that we teach here, and I would not recommend it. But we got the sweep, getting the reaction. Now what we're looking for is for this to go on and print a higher high. Now it could chop around here a little bit more. I may even retest this level here, but it's looking great so far. If you want to drill down even lower time frame and say, okay, how might I get on board this now since it's starting to move? Well, I don't know if we'd go M15. It's a little bit too low time frame, but H1. Okay, so H1, here we go. You had an H1 range. It was a bearish H1 range right here. This was your H1 bearish range making lower lows. You got a higher high print right here, flipping the H1 range to bullish, realigning with the H12 and daily structure. And here you go. Here is your H1 demand. And look at that. You got the higher high. It came in and touched it, and it's going on higher. So what you do is if it comes back into here, that might be your trigger to try and get on board. Or if we start printing more, like at some point, this is going to create a swing point, a swing high on H1. And then you just try and find the higher low. It's all fractals, right? I keep saying this. I keep telling you this. 9/10 of what we do is trying to buy the higher low. Well, H1 is realigned with the high time frame structure of being bullish. It went from being a bearish downtrend at H1, the counter trend. So it's now realigned. Here's your demand. So you just look for something. Where's the tool that I started using? Why is it not here? Okay, 1 second. Let me pull the tool up because it is a nice addition to the toolkit. Okay, I don't like the highlighter. I no longer use it. What I want is this, and there we go. Bingo. So what you might look for is if you get a swing high up here, you're looking for some sort of move that would be down into here, and maybe give some sort of sweep. You're looking for something to do something like that. This was a little bit messy. I apologize. Just trying to do it quickly. But you're looking for something, and maybe it retests that H4 line, right? Maybe that's what happens. Like you have your demand here. Maybe you get a retest of that H4 swing level. Maybe that's your trigger right there. I could have drawn that better. I apologize, but I'm trying to move quickly here. So I would look for something like that. Wherever the swing high ends up forming on H1, you're going to get a pullback for a higher low. I would look in this demand area. And if it realigns with that H4 swing low as a tag, like pretty good signal. I would take that trade. Okay. Moving along. Labubu. I haven't looked at this chart yet, but some people, ooh, what is going on here? Why is it giving me this? Come on, deck screener. Come on. Come on. Ugh. Okay, let me just fix this quickly because I do dislike it when they look like that. I spend about 18 hours a day with charts. I like them looking the way that I like looking at them. I don't like, you know, not only is it part of my branding, but also I just like looking at a nice looking chart. I mean, in fast moving environments where you're just trading, yes, the colors of the charts don't matter, but this is part of my day job. Karachi? What the fuck is that? Okay, well, that is not my time zone. I'm not going to, it's misaligned everything for a second. Okay. Well, you guys know that I'm UTC -5. Where that is in the world, you don't know. So what I'm going to do real quickly is I'm just going to share that. I'm going to adjust my time frame because when we're looking at candles, we want to know what time the candle is closing, etc. I don't know what the hell Karachi is. It's not me. I don't, never been to that part of the world. I actually would love to go one day. But that's not where I am. I am in the EST time zone. Okay, I've fixed that. Now let's pop back over here. Sorry, and that was the Daily Edge website, dailyedge.com, where you can go and subscribe to the newsletter, which will get delivered to you into your inbox every day for free. Mason says shit software. Yeah, I mean, it is and it isn't. Like, I do a lot of my work in Deck Screener, and I do, the platform is a lifesaver. But yes, there are things that happen that are frustrating from time to time. I had another question here about winter. We're going to get to it. It's part of the watch list. We'll get to it. Okay. Labubu. Labubu. What is labubu? Some sort of weird stuffed animal meme. Let me check on timing. How we doing? 40 minutes? Okay. An hour and 20, we can crush. An hour and a half, let's say. Labubu, the number one hottest toy in China. I would make an accent, but then I'd sound racist, and I don't want to do that. Okay. Immediately I can. Oh, come on. Crosshairs are messed up. Okay, I'll just leave it for now because I'm not going to be nitpicky, but that does annoy me. So H1, I can see maybe we've got some demand here. It's a tough one to go off. I think we just swing down to M15, see what we got going on. Mark out some of the important swing points. You can see how this was important. It was a swing high, but then as soon as you close below, look at how it's rejecting off that, right? So M15 is actually lost structure, but let's keep marking out some of these swing points. There's one here, which it looks like it's aiming for. Okay, well, it's broken structure on M15. When you got to close below there, there's your break in structure on M15, then you had a new range, and it looks like it's threatening to close below again. So we have to wait and see what's going to happen here. This could be a signal, just the very fact that you do have an important swing level there, a previous swing high. That could be the moment that we're waiting for. And you're already starting to see something there. It looks like it front ran it, a little bit, but that could be what you're looking for. But in terms of structure, M15 is like, if this closes here, it's definitely a bearish continuation, but we could form out a range. See where that, if this close, yeah, so we just got the close. So here's your M15 bearish range swing high. There's when it broke a lower low on M15. But you're watching to see what happens here. Like if we start to form, like we need a swing low to form so that we can confirm the range, like the bottom of the range. We don't have that yet because we don't know where this candle currently is going to close, but we're looking here. We're like, okay. And then what we can do is we throw out the fib. Like maybe that is the 786. Let's find out. What is going on here? No, that's not what I wanted. Also, what was that? Okay. What we want here? Man, Deck Screener is frigging me a little bit here today. Okay, so look at that. It aligns with my red dead fib level that I've talked about before. Also, if anybody's looking for the fibs, they're in the AFM TG group in the resources channel. You can take a look and copy my exact fib settings. It's at the red dead level, which is sort of the do or die level on Solana memes. It's kind of come into it. We're still waiting, and look, it's trying to go lower. So I would see what happens here. I wouldn't jump the gun here unless you already bought that trigger there. Like, here, let's zoom in. Let's take a look and see what's happening. Yeah, it hasn't even touched it yet, so I'd wait a little bit. This is still doing its thing because you actually wanted to tag that because there is an area of demand there. We just don't know what's going to happen yet, but you do actually want it to tag there instead of front run because you could be like, okay, I caught the bottom, maybe I front ran it, and the next thing you know, it's down here. So I'd just wait a little bit, but that's what's happening here. Suffering. I would wait for bottom of the range to form, and then maybe you can buy it on a sweep trigger to try and catch a bottom of the range, top of the range play, and then see if it'll flip it. We don't know yet, or it's just still way too early, but we'll find out what happens. Moving along. Let's just see any questions real quick. No, I don't see anything yet. Okay. Moving along. Hana had been quite a bullish point on ETH. I think related to SHIB. Yeah, it's related to SHIB. It had been a portfolio alert. This is the H4. It's lost H4 structure now. Let's go higher time frame, see what we see. Okay. This is why it's important to go high time frame, right? Like, yes, when something is in a parabolic move, like I would call that a parabolic move, you want to be on lower time frames. But once you start to get a pullback, you start to zoom out. So let's clear everything off, see what we got. Immediately, here's your daily demand. And I hope you guys can start following along and seeing what it is that I see. And I know you guys do ask, well, how is it that you're drawing out these demand zones? They seem sort of arbitrary from time to time. Well, it just comes from experience and understanding what it is that I would be looking for. And I try and teach it as best as I can, but there are times when it's like, it takes the experience. You just got to sit with the charts and learn with me. And just over time, you'll start to figure out what it is I look for. So daily, bullish, higher high, into demand. What would we be looking for here? We can go down to H12, not really much to go off of. Like we look like at some point we're trying to put in a sweep, but then that failed, right? So we don't want to look at that anymore. Let's go down to H4. H4, as I said, it did make a lower low. So you're getting higher time frames starting to go counter trend. Like when you have a high time frame primary structure and a primary trend, yes, you're going to start getting a cascading effect of lower time frames creeping up into higher time frames, going counter trend. The thing is, you just want to know or find the high time frame, higher low. So as of now, like H4 is printing, lower lows. We've got an H4 bearish range that I can see here. We haven't confirmed the bottom yet because this candle could go lower, but potentially you're looking at a lower a range low there. So we'll see what happens. So what we could be looking for is if this candle closes above and not below this level, what we could be looking for is a sweep move. Sorry, my wife is just messaging me. Also, yeah, I'm on a bit of an elevated dad duty for the next few days, but I'll still be just as active, only slightly more frustrated that I'm having to rear my children a little bit more than normal, but it's give and take. My wife is wonderful and she handles so much, and I'm truly thankful for everything that she does. So from time to time, I have to pick up the slack on dad duty, and this is one of those weekends. Okay, so H4, we don't know yet what's happening here. And I can guarantee you H1 is also bearish. Yes. So there's your H1 range. So maybe if we start getting an H1 higher high, but I wouldn't worry about that yet. I would just wait for this H4 to close and then see what happens. And then we can maybe try and get a trigger for a sweep of the H4 low to go to the range high, reminding ourselves that daily is bullish, H12 is bullish. So we're looking here. We're not there yet, but we're looking here for some sort of trigger as our buy signal, right? Because we want the fractal. We want the high time frame for our primary analysis, lower time frame for on a fractal of the higher time frame, looking for a way to get on board to give us an indication that we are buying the higher low. And I mean, and again, if this just keeps going lower lows, which is why we wait for that sort of sweep scenario, we print lower lows, well, we just wait. We have to have patience. Majority of trading is patience. Unless you're playing the Solana casino and just firing clips at new launches, the majority of what we're doing is having to be patient. There's nothing wrong with that. That's why having a group, some fun group chats. Well, that was a weird way to say that. It's what's great to have good group chats that you're a part of, where you're going to shoot the shit with your comrades, your brothers in arms, during the slower moments, and then when it's time to take action, you sort of push each other into action, which is great. Okay, moving along. Michi, let's see what we got here. So this is a higher time frame chart. I'm not going to completely restart everything, but we can see we're dealing with some weekly levels. It's been, it's a bullish chart. It had been daily bearish for a while, but it's finally flipped daily bullish back mid-September when I got a higher high here. And look at that. We printed a higher high. So I don't remember the last time I analyzed this. It would have been somewhere here. somewhere prior to this tag here, because I had drawn the swing high, but I haven't looked back at it in a while. I try not, like, these sort of higher market cap meme coins, they don't really interest me, but clearly it was a play to be had here, right? We had our demand, gave you 150% on deeper liquidity on a coin that you know is not just going to rug you. So there's definitely plays to be had there. It's just I'm more in the newer end of the spectrum. Particularly, I really like the sweet spot of tokens that are older than 4 hours, younger than 10 days, but ideally younger than 5 days. Like within that 4 hour to 120 hour range tends to be a sweet spot where there's enough volume and attention that you're going to get the reactions you want off of those areas. Because TA, yes, voodoo, squiggles, memes, yes, it is a meme, but the thing is, if you have eyes in the market eyeing your coin and eyeing levels, the probability that that is going to play out goes up tremendously. So you want to be not, like, we keep drilling these concepts home. You want to be trading with the trend, not counter the market, and you want the path of least resistance. Like, don't make your job harder. There's a million fucking tokens out there. Don't hold a particular bias or feeling about any one coin or community or anything like that. Fuck that. If we're just here to make money and trade, kick all of that out the door, because the ticker doesn't matter. You're not trying to be a community member. You're trying to make money. So what you want is the coins that are going to give you the highest probability when those setups unfold. And high volume, eyes on it from the market, gives you that, right? But that being said, a high time frame reversal on daily after a long time downtrend, right? Like, this has been downtrending for a while, even though you had a few flips which lost. Like, it had been downtrending for a long time and consolidating. Well, high time frame daily bullish market structure flip, and look what you get, right? You get that sort of reaction. So what are we dealing with right now? Let me just clear this stuff and we can find where we're at right now. So it's a bit of a big range, right? Like, here's your daily range. Swing low, swing high. Your higher high, it was really here, right? So look at how massive this range is that you're dealing with. Like, it's a big range to deal with, and it's kind of tricky to analyze unless you really know what you're looking for. And what I see here is, okay, we've got a fair value gap here. And for those that have been following along, a fair value gap is an area of large displacement where a candle before or after doesn't trade within that range, where price was deemed to be fair value and moved rapidly in one direction or the other. You can have fair value bullish and fair value bearish. Well, here we've had fair value bullish. Now it's tagged into both of them, but it's holding this one so far, the upper. So these are two areas that I'd be looking for, because all the way back down is big. I mean, you could come and touch the actual demand. There's three different sort of areas that we deal with, and I've talked about this many times before. We have an order block, OB style demand. We have a fair value gap style demand, or supply. This works in both directions, supply or demand. And we have a breaker style demand or supply. Three different types of zones that we look for, and they're just different areas of demand that we look for where buyers potentially are going to step in. That's what we're doing, right? Is we're looking probability-wise, where would buyers step in? And in an area where they thought the price was cheap or fair value, they're probably going to step in there again. That's the whole principle behind it. I think what we can do, though, is maybe focus on the upper one for now. And let's take a look lower time frame and see what we have. Okay, so H12, it's actually flipped bearish, right? Like, here we have, this was your range low that created a high, creating a higher high on H12. Well, now you've closed below. So H12 is bearish, which is starting to get higher quality signal that maybe this is going to go down, but the daily still very much bullish. So it just means that shorter, like on a shorter time frame than daily, it wants to go down. And looking at this, like, look at how it's holding the bottom of that daily VG, right? Like that we drew that on the daily, and look at how it's holding that level. So I would watch that for now, because that clearly seems to be an area of importance. Is what's going to happen here? So what are some things that we could look for? I mean, even H4, you've closed below it, but like the signal's starting to get less strong the further down the time frames you go to lower time frame, especially when it's a daily structure. But what do I see here? That could have been a signal. You had an H4 sweep. Right? You're into daily demand of a fair value gap, and you're looking for triggers. You had an H4 bearish range. Yes, the range was bearish, but what we've talked about a few times, you form a range, you're looking for a sweep at that bottom of the range to go counter trend to try and realign with the high time frame trend. Well, that's what we have right here. It put in a sweep, closed above that level, tagged it, and it's moving a little bit. Now, this could take a long time. It's a daily chart with a lot of price history and a lot of bag holders. So who knows what's going to happen and how long this takes to play out. But let's look at how choppy this has been. There was your signal. You could put a trade in here, and if you get an H4 close below that swing level of 95.77 million according to d.o.g.e screener, well, then you'd look to cut and look to get in lower. But for now, that's holding. So that could be an entry. Moving along. This is another pochita. I think I'm just going to next this. Or was this? Yeah, this was another one. There were so many that launched. I mean, look, this one looks way more bullish than the first Ethereum pochita that we looked at. So maybe this one's being deemed the pochita on Ethereum. I still will say it's a Solana ecosystem coin. So do with that what you will. But okay, here's pochita. If you're looking for, you got to look for this one, right? Like, I'm not going to post the CA here because I'm not promoting any coin, anything like that. I'm just giving analysis, but it's this one with this banner on Ethereum, the one that's sitting at 1.3 million market cap. So H1, really the highest time frame we have anything to work with. So what we'll do is we'll mark out the key swing levels. There's one there, one here. We can drop. We don't even have a swing low on this, which is kind of annoying and frustrating, but you do have your hourly demand area there, and you had your higher high break there, and the top of your range. There's the top of your hourly range. The bottom is, I mean, it's demand in here, but we don't have a swing low, so the bottom is technically down here, and I don't really love going off that. But what do we have going on here? Well, we just talk about when you're trying to look for the bottom. Well, we put in a sweep there, right? So that candle did a sweep, closed above. Well, then this one was probably a decent signal to buy. Not really much else to say off of that. Look at that. Even on M15, sweep, 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 then goes. So these are the things you look out for. When you're in bullish structure and you're looking for the counter trend, the lower time frame, even though M15 actually was still bullish. So you're still aligned time frame wise. You're just looking for a higher low in here. Well, put in a level. Like, yeah, you had one here too, even. Look. This one wasn't a sweep, but what you had was an M15 higher high break, and then it gave a trigger, right? But we're not at that part of the trade now, but just I'm showing you different ways you can look for ways to get on board. You had an M15 range right there, made a higher high, it came in and tagged demand and went. Like, here was your demand. When you made that higher high, I know it dipped below, it wicked below, but it managed to hold it on a close. There was your entry, and there was your trade, right? So you just bought that dip and the close above. Well, 170% trade potential you had right there, right? So those are things you're looking for. Low time frame triggers within a higher time frame. Yes, H1 is not very high in time frame, but on a chart this new, H1 is what we got, so it's what we got to work with. Well, there was another trigger. Obviously, you're late to this trade now, so I wouldn't look to get on board right now. What I'd do is say, okay, it's putting in higher highs, so maybe we're looking for it to come into demand, or maybe it's going to come into this breaker here. Like, I could see this being an area where it finds the higher low. That's something I'd look for. Moving along. Cheeseball, CB. Okay, well, I dropped this one in the AFMTG. I believe there was a alert that came in on it. I was a little bit late to the move. I think the coin was trading here at the time, but I outlined what I saw, but we were just late to the move. I got to the alert late, so wasn't much to do. Actually, it was the hourly. I think it was trading here. So what do we see now? We made a higher high. Let's remove this. How are we doing on time? Just under an hour. We're doing great on time. Amazing. What is this? I chose Wombo, says GM, GM, GM. Yes, Queen. Yes, Queen. Well, welcome, welcome, welcome. AX says, hey, Rap, why don't we short these? Because some of these would, well, where are you going to short shitcoins? Like, yeah, there's a few platforms, but there's really no infrastructure set up. You need to set up a liquidity pool and deposit tokens. Like, it seems like a pain in the ass. I would much rather buy shit to sell higher, especially in a market like crypto, than trying to short something like a shitcoin, because your downside is capped, but your upside is not. You just shorting them is literally just selling, right? So just don't buy that coin and buy the ones that go up. I mean, yeah, you could short majors, but that's not what we're about here, and I'm really not interested in that. I've got my core bags, and I don't focus on perps trading at all. It's where I learned how my system and how to do all this stuff, but where I really where it really started to shine, where I really put it all together, was on chain. So it's just not something I'm interested in. But by all means, if you're looking to short something, go for it. Power Nap says he's coping on CB, been watching since 150K and never got greedy range low entries. I mean, I can show you somewhere where we did have a trigger. Let me walk you through that, because on H1, you had an H1 range, right? H1 range. This was your H1 bullish range. Let's just imagine this hasn't happened yet. This was your H1 bullish range. Well, what happened? You had an interim swing level that put in a sweep. Boom. Now, yes, it was hard to get on board, but I actually pointed out in the analysis that I dropped, I was like, okay, look, it gave you that M15 trigger. I keep saying this. Go from higher time frame to lower time frame, find your fractal. Well, sweep, 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 boom, right? So what do we do now? Because we're now into a different trade. There is a trade there. It's just it's a different trade. You're no longer in that trade, right? So what we're trying to do is find the next trade. Just marking out key swing levels. They often, in drawdowns can become important areas, as we've pointed out. So we've got this area here of demand, H1. Do we have anything on H4? Yeah, H4 is attempting a higher high. It hasn't closed yet, so I wouldn't really use that as signal yet, but it is looking pretty bullish and probably going to close there. So there was your higher high break on H1, bullish continuation, market structure continuing bullish stair stepping. Here we go. Yep, that was the high. There's your H1 range. Well, you're looking for the higher low, potentially somewhere down in here, maybe even all the way into demand. We don't know yet. It's a little early. I would not buy this right now. The only other way that you'd think about buying this was if we get another H1 higher high, then your higher low is going to be somewhere here. But right now, we can go lower time frame and see, okay, are we getting some sort of, some people might call this like a bullish, a bull flag or whatever. I don't subscribe to those patterns. I'm all about horizontals. And more often than not, it's, people have done back testing. Those patterns fail at a higher rate than they succeed. So I just really don't like looking at them. Yes, people can post hopium and think, oh, we're going to, and then you get here, and then the way that these usually work out the best is if you're dealing with market structure and you're getting to a horizontal level that's holding, right? But look, we can see here we have an M5 range, bottom of your range, top of your range, M5 range it's trading within. So maybe you get some sort of, if you're looking for a low time frame trigger, there was one right there, right? M5 sweep, went to the top of the range, but we're late to that now. So now we're just wondering, is H1 going to give a proper pullback, or what's going to happen? So you just have to have patience on this. You can continue to monitor lower time frames. Like if you get another trigger on M5, like say it comes back down here and sweeps that again, maybe that's your trigger. Or if you get an M5 close above here, then you can say, okay, maybe this is showing a willingness to go higher from here. Maybe we'll get an entry somewhere right around here again. People always ask or say, oh, but you're waiting for that higher low move. But you're missing a chunk of the move. But really, are you though? Because you're buying with trend, and you're also, say you get, we can use this tool again, try again. Say you get something that closes like this, right? Well, you're going to have some sort of higher low into demand there before trying to go higher, right? That could be something that you're looking for. And in that scenario, say this candle just closes up here, well, you'd have an area of demand there, right? Look at that. And you're buying practically the exact same level it's at right now. You're just waiting for that confirmation rather than buying a top, right? Because at the moment, you could be buying the fucking top. Don't buy tops. No. We don't FOMO. None of what we teach is FOMO. What we teach is patience and waiting for your setups. And if you miss this one, you miss this one. There's always another fucking trade. Don't stress yourself. There's a million ways to make money in this market on different coins at all different times. So never FOMO. FOMOing never usually ends well. Yes, there's times when you catch that explosive move, but you got to be in really early. You wanted to be in here for that move. You don't want to be here. Moving along. Any further comments in there? Let's hide this. He said, really like the meme. Had that spidey sense, just shit execution. It happens, buddy. You know what? But you're one of the members in our war room, and over time, as we get we hone our skills in that chat, like we'll be able to push ourselves, right? We'll just be like, fuck, buy, slap that button, just press buy. Like we're building that camaraderie. And I wasn't in the chat when it occurred, but these are the things that the purpose of building that group is that we can have each other's backs, point out the setups when they're occurring so we don't have blind spots and we don't miss stuff, but also to push each other, because analysis is one thing, but taking the trade is the other. And if you're not taking the trade, then what the fuck is the point, right? Like you're just collecting knowledge rather than pushing yourself to change your life. And that's not a dig or a shot or a jab at all. I've been guilty of it too. You know, I've in the past loved to collect courses and information and blah, 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 you know, but you don't get anything out of that. What you get out of life is when you put it into practice. Moving along. Is this another pochita or is this the same? Well, this was the same one. Okay. Oh, look at that. So it's coming to that area. Interesting to note. I don't know if I want to play a pochita on ETH, but this one is in bullish structure. It's printing higher highs. It's into that M15 area, that breaker that I talked about. This could be your higher low right here. Moving along. wdog. Okay, so last stream, I said it had made an H12 lower low, and look at what's happened. It's followed through. This is why market structure is so important, because this whole thing was based off of an H12 bearish range, and this is supply. And I'd said, okay, you're getting stair stepping here, and when we got a close above here, I said, okay, maybe you can flip bullish on here. But, and which it was following along. You had no lower low closes until here. And as soon as that happened, I said, boys, I don't know. And look at that. Got the lower low close, and then underside tagged the meme line. It closed below the meme line, underside tagged, and sold off. And what else would we have here? Right in this area. Once you got the lower low close there was an area of supply right here, right? So everything kind of aligned there for get the fuck out of the trade. Now, nothing we can do about that now other than understand where it is and why it is that I was pointing things out. I mean, it's really quite, it's not shocking because I see this happen all the time. But when we go back to a coin, I haven't looked at this coin in days. So when we go back to stuff and we see that the analysis played out 100% as I thought it would, it just confirms my commitment to teaching this system to you guys. Because once you start seeing this stuff and you get, you build a belief in your abilities and your analysis and what you're seeing, it just unlocks so much because, you know, I can see all of this. Even delete this part of the chart. Like what had happened was you had that close there and we were somewhere here. And I was like, you know what? You got a lower low. I think this is broken structure. It's probably not good. And then once you started getting some more price action, you could say, okay, there was my supply. An area of supply. Yes, you had this whole region up here that actually was the supply. Then let's see if we just left that up there. Yeah, look at that. It even tagged that area there, right? Like there's different ways of drawing these things out because that was an area of supply, but your primary supply was there. So yeah, hopefully over time you'll start to see these things, but we're continuing to print lower lows. So I don't like this right now and I wouldn't touch it. There's really nothing you can do at this point until this starts to form a range. Because yes, H12, we have the top of the range here. We don't know where the bottom is yet. And yes, this could be the bottom. Like let's go H4. No, but H4 keeps putting in lower lows. So, you know, right here you had a lower low on H4. So maybe what you do, what you say is, okay, here's my H4 range. We haven't had this close yet, so it's a little early to call that the swing low, but let's just call this for shits and giggles, the H4 range that we're working in. If this manages to close above here, then we're starting to get real, you know, lower time frame signal that it wants to flip bullish, but the high time frame trend is bearish. So like that would be a counter trend move. So what you're looking for is either a flip of that or a sweep of this. It's too early to tell. I wouldn't touch this right now though, to be honest with you. It's got a lot of bag holders. It's got a lot of bag holders on this one, right? Like it just, yeah. Look. Where's your bottom? Like back down to here? You want to hold this to here? Or maybe you get a punt back down here and try to go up again. I don't know. We'll have to find out, but I wouldn't touch it right now. Smoking chicken fish. Okay. Well, analysis from last stream. When was this? On the 27th, 28th. We were on the 28th. We were putting in this candle. And I said, okay, well, maybe this is going to be your demand. Well, look where we are right now. daily. Like this is why you don't FOMO into tops. Especially you had this sweep here. I said last stream, I would look right here to find out if this closes as a sweep. And that's what occurred. You had your daily, high time frame, high signal, SFP, a swing fail pattern. Talked about it in the group just this morning, what that means. But this is a high time frame signal. This is why you don't FOMO to tops and you wait for the higher low. Now, the only thing is, when you have a large impulse like that and volume and momentum, does the higher low hold? It's high time frame. This is daily, so we think it will, but we're missing out on that momentum now because it's stalled. So what you have to do is the buyers have to start getting excited again here. But I said I would watch this level here. If it closes as a sweep, it's something to pay attention to, and this will most likely be your demand. Well, look at where the fuck we are right now. You know, like, just don't buy this. Yes, on low time frame, was there opportunities going up? Yeah, you know, higher high H1, tag demand, boom. Sweep of a low, boom, right? Like there's different ways to get on board or something like that. If you want a short-term trade, which I love a low time frame, fast trade. That's, you know, the majority of what I like doing. I don't like holding bags. I'm not typically someone that sleeps on bags unless I'm in from really low and it's gone a lot up. I'm not a long-term bag holder. I'm a levels trader. That's what we teach here. And don't let anyone ever tell you that that's not the way to go about crypto, because some of the richest guys in the space just fucking trade all day, right? So, and that wasn't me claiming clout. I'm not one of the richest guys in the space. I'm trying to fucking make it, and I want to be one of those guys, which is why we do this system. Okay, you're into daily demand now. What are we looking for? Well, nothing's shifted on H12. H12 is still in alignment, but H4 you've lost, right? Like you had an H4 close below. It hasn't closed below yet, so you're watching this. Here's like your H4 range, but you're watching this range. Did we? Nope, but it looks like it's going to, right? Like this looks like you're going to lose the H4 range unless this gets bought up in the next 45 minutes and manages to close above. That could be a trigger on an H4 sweep, but for now, you're watching what's going to happen in here. So daily is bullish. You're just looking for a higher low in here. And I can't really tell you yet what that's going to be like, but it's going to be some sort of fractal playing out, right? Like, I'm just going to say, I think this is probably going to close as a lower low on H4, just given the heaviness here. And I don't know what are majors doing. Majors kind of stabilized, so maybe you're okay, but you're looking for a higher low in here. So just listen to what it is I've said repeatedly throughout this stream and every stream and in the group. You're looking for the high time frame bias to get echoed in a lower time frame fractal so that the counter trend realigns with the primary trend. And right now, yes, H4 is still with primary trend, but it looks like it's going to lose it. So you just want to figure out where the lower low is going to be in here. You know, somewhere, that's doing weird things with the size, but somewhere in here, you're looking for something to occur that's going to be your trigger to go to realign with the high time frame trend. So let's just leave that up for shits and gigs, and maybe we'll come back and see if it came down there. It won't happen now because this is a high time frame chart. It's going to take a while, but we'll see. Moving along. Emoji dog. How are we doing for time? An hour and 12. We've got about an hour to go. Okay, perfect. Let's move this off. Okay, Danny P had a question. On wdog, would you just cut this right now, or would you wait for it to come back into supply? The problem is, like, you're a long way away from supply, right? Like your trigger to cut was the initial H12 shift in structure, which was days ago now, right? And now it's just put in lower lows. So what are you doing? Yeah, maybe you get a bounce up into supply, but you're really late to that move. So I can't really. What I'd say is this: like, if you're feeling shit about being underwater on it, what you can do is say, okay, if I get some sort of bounce, I'll cut. But if this continues to look weak, I'll cut and look for a way to get back on board if it shifts back to bullish. But other than that, like, you kind of have to eat it for now. You know, like, is there a chance that it picks back up and goes back to all-time highs? I mean, it's crypto, absolutely. But I don't know when or if that ever happens. And I don't want to tell you to hold on to something and then a few days from now you're down another 50%, you know? Like, a coin can always go down another 90%. regardless of how much it's gone down already. I'm not saying that's the case for wdog. I have no fucking idea. But looking at it right now, it's a bit rough. So would you wait for a bounce? I don't know if a bounce is going to happen, especially given the market heaviness. If Bitcoin chills here and the majors chill here, maybe it's going to find a bottom and give you a relief bounce. I would 100% sell that bounce though, because there's no indication that it wants to be bullish yet. Okay, dog emoji. Looks like it lost structure. This is H4, so fairly significant. You got to close below, right? So H4 is shifted. It had been bullish structure, stair-stepping continuation, and now we've lost structure, right? So we can get rid of those. Let's just throw up some of the key levels and look how important key levels can be, right? Especially when you're buying with trend. And this level in particular had been trouble for it, right? Closed above, closed back below, got above, closed back below, chopped, and now it's down below, right? So this level, clearly very important. But what we're looking at now, here's your H4 range high. We don't quite have the range low yet because we won't know until this closes. Looking probable that it's going to close somewhere like that. But, you know, we're into supply after the H4 lower low. We mark out a few levels, a few more levels that have been important just to keep it. Maybe we'll even get this one too because it's an H4. Why not? Okay. Well, at the moment, yeah, it's bearish, right? But you do have an H1 range here, range low, that it's swept a few times and given a reaction. So maybe if it sweeps again, you could have a trigger. But remember, your overall high time frame trend is bearish now. So any move or trade you take here is short term because you're running up into supply. And at any moment, it could find here and find a lower high to make a lower low, right? Like just flip the analysis around. Like on bullish structure, we're looking for the higher low to make a higher high. While in bearish structure, you're looking for the lower high to make a lower low. That's why market structure is so important, especially on high time frame, which is why I drill that home every day. Top-down analysis. You go high time frame. What's your bias? What's your structure on high time frame? Is it bullish? Is it bearish? You figure that out. You figure out your range, your primary range, whether it's a bullish range or bearish range. You mark out your swing high and swing low point that creates the range. The range defining range, like the range defining swing points. So in bullish, that's the swing low that creates the swing high, making a higher high above the previous swing high. There's your bullish range. In bearish, it's a swing high that creates a swing low, making a lower low close below the previous swing low. So that's all that is. It's really easy. It's really simple. It's hard to decipher on a chart, and that's one of the things that took me the longest to figure out. And as soon as I unlocked the market structure component and why different candles matter to that, it really changed the game. Because sometimes you can look at things and people will be like, well, why are you marking that? Well, it's a very specific reason. It's just figuring out why it's that candle and understanding why it's that candle. And then once you do that, it's looking at a chart is like a completely different experiment. But for now, so maybe if you get another H1 sweep here, could be a reason to get into a trade. But just remember, your higher time frame, you're trading counter trend. And look at how it's rejecting off that supply already, right? So bit rough. I would wait this one out for now and see what happens. Like literally the only thing I would do is if you get a sweep at this range low, potential, right? But your range high on this is quite a ways away. So to flip H1 back to bullish, you need to close back above here, which this supply is acting like supply. A bit of a tough job right now. Billy, I haven't looked at this one in a little while, but someone did bring in the request. Okay, let me move this. How are we doing for time? An hour and 20. We're doing okay. How far along into this are we? Okay, got to pick it up a bit. And some of these may not get to. We'll see. We're doing fine so far, though. I have about an hour. Okay, Billy. Here's daily. Flip bullish, right? Daily on Billy is bullish. This was analysis from last time. Where were we? I haven't, you know what? This is not analysis from last stream because we didn't analyze this last stream. This was analysis from somewhere early September. And look, you had a bearish structure and you closed below that level. and you had supply, which acted as supply, but then got a bullish catalyst, whatever that is, right? So now we have to switch bias because you got a higher high. When you closed above here on daily, right? There was your higher high break. But let's just remove all this and let's see what we see now, like up-to-date analysis on what we've got going on. Well, okay, daily demand. There's your daily bullish range. It's in bullish structure. You're looking for a higher low to form. Why is it bullish? Well, there was your higher high break. Why is that the range? That's the range low, the swing low that created the swing high, creating a higher high above the previous swing high. Well, there's your bullish range. So you're looking for a higher low in here. It's still bullish, still looks great. It's holding this, even given the market sell off the last couple of days. Like when you get a moment like BTC, shit in the bed, this is what you're looking for. You go to the coins that you have higher conviction in, and you look for high time frame areas that you want to do business in. And this is a definition of that, right? It came right into the daily demand that maybe you're following this along. You're like, oh, I want to get on board, but it's moved so much. What am I going to do? Well, mark out your high time frame areas of interest and wait for a day when BTC decides to go down, because it does that like every couple of days. It tagged the very bottom of demand. Like I've just switched down to A4 and it tagged the very bottom of demand. So like maybe that was your trigger to just buy that swing low on daily, right? Even though it's an H4 candle, like an H4, yes, technically bearish structure for H4, but like given it was a daily range you're monitoring, just buy that, right? Because your risk reward doesn't get any better if you just buy that tag there. You have to be monitoring it or set a limit there, like set a stink bid right on that level. If you start to close below, then you just cut, right? Like your risk reward doesn't get any better. Like think about risk reward this way, like buying here because you think, oh, it's going up is a lot riskier, even though mentally we say to ourselves, well, this is less risky because it's going up here. It's a lot riskier to buy here because you're a lot further away from invalidation. When if you buy the blood and you in your gut you feel like you're making the wrong decision by buying that, well, your risk is much smaller because it's clearly defined, it's close by, that you stand to lose a lot less here than you stand to lose from here. Just something to keep in mind. Like the next time you're looking at a chart, you're like, oh, should I buy, should I buy, should I buy? Well, if it's in your area, your zone of interest that you've marked out and you have a plan in place, just fucking press the buy button because your risk is so much less here, right? Like say you just bought that and you close below, well, okay, you take a 5% scratch, so what? But say you bought this thinking, oh, it looks so bullish, we got green, and then all of a sudden you're underwater 40%. Are you going to keep holding that? Or are you going to cut and then all of a sudden it reverses on you, right? Like remember things like that. Moving along. Mumu. What is going on with Mumu? Well, analysis that I had done semi-recently, like this might have been from last stream. Where were we? The 27th. I think the last stream was somewhere here. And I said, okay, you've got this daily range forming. You want it to come down into demand. Well, that's what it's done. You're into that daily demand. Same thing as the Billy chart. You're looking for your higher low in here. So you're just looking for triggers, right? Like maybe if this ends up just sweeping that level, a daily sweep, again, sweeps on higher time frame, better signal than lower time frame. So if that ends up as a daily sweep, maybe that's your trigger to just buy. And yes, you might go underwater for a period of time, but most likely it's going to close up and then go through it. So something you can look for, or you just go down to lower time frame and see what you're working with. Currently making lower lows, so not much to work with yet. So just look for those higher time frame fractals to play out on lower time frame. This is a great day to be doing this stream because we're getting a lot of these setups coming into high time frame levels. This is what you need, right? Like as close to a signal surface as possible. I'm never about signals. I will never claim to be signals, and it's not what I'm about. I'm more about teaching you to fish so you can look at a chart and do this yourself. But if we're ever going to be signal service, it's a day like today because you can see I'm telling you what signal to look for. Now you just have to wait and have patience for it to play out. Don't just foam away with this stuff, right? Like wait for your trigger. Wait for your trigger. What's a few percent if you buy with trend versus risking a buy and then it goes lower on you, right? Because this may not hold. There's no reason that this has to hold this demand. It's just this is probability wise where buyers step in, right? So just give it some time. Giko cat. This was one that was like Anson tweeted. He's like, I'm going to tweet. I'm picking a coin sub 30 million market cap. If I get this many likes, I'll tweet it out. And there was some speculation like, oh, is it going to be manyu? Is it going to be, and then it ended up being giko. Well, it's had a big retrace. This is H4. What do we have on daily? There's nothing we can really work off on daily. H12, it's a long way away, but look. Okay, I had this level marked out initially. You never got a sweep of it, right? So why the sweep is a good trigger, good signal? Because if you just bought this at this level without waiting for the sweep, well, you'd be underwater. But then what happened here? Sweep. Get that sweep, and then try and buy with that trend. We can even go down lower time frame, see what happened. H1 giving you the sweep or as close to that level. No, it didn't actually fully sweep. So it's a bit tough. You had to take a little bit of artistic what's that phrase? Artistic liberties. Because you didn't actually get that sweep. So it would have been tough. You'd be watching that going, oh, I want the sweep, and you never got it. But on H1, you had some levels here. No, that even closed below. But you were, it's a bit of a tough one. And I couldn't have been able to tell you this is your trigger specifically, because that, was that a close below or above? Was that a sweep or not? Oh, yeah. Okay. There, you got a sweep right there. So if you're monitoring a specific coin looking for an entry, you have to just like be patient and just monitor it. Start marking out things as they occur. And you got a sweep there. Well, then maybe that was the trigger. I would have preferred it if it swept the bottom of the range, but is what it is. You're not going to get exactly what you want. You have to be nimble and adaptable. It's if this, then that. If that, then this. Not this is the only way I'm going to trade this thing, and that's it. And if it doesn't happen, fuck it. No, you have to be nimble, right? Like have a set of criteria of different triggers you can look for to get on board something and go with it. Let's see. Just checking the chat real quick. Can you check Aura? Maybe. I have a lot of coins to still get through from people that requested them earlier, and I have a hard cap on time today, so I don't know that I'll be able to. But if you pop into the AFM chat, TG group, I'll be able to look at it later on in the day. I don't know that I'll be able to get to it during the stream. Apologies about that. How are you feeling about the cursed coin bias and stuff like Billy? Better now since other cursed ones like Michi reclaim so much. Well, how do you get over a cursed coin? Well, you start getting high time frame bullish structure, like a daily flip, right? If you flip daily bullish, that's a pretty good signal. Now you could still get a lot of chop and maybe it's going to fail, but at least you're buying with the trend. Not every trade is going to work out exactly as you want. I mean, they're never going to work out exactly as you want, but not every trade is going to go the way you want, but you're giving yourself the best probability-wise with the closest to invalidation as possible, so that if it goes against you, you can cut and not just leave with a scratch and not get hurt too much from your capital perspective. So it's a cursed coin until it's not. Yes. React, don't predict. Beautiful. Beautiful. I do like that saying, and I do say it from time to time. Markets are about reaction, not prediction. The only thing you want to predict is maybe the next one move that you can say, okay, if I get this, then this is what I'd be looking for. But you're reacting to what actually occurs on the ground, because a million different things can occur and change the analysis. So you have to be nimble in that and know what you're looking for. It's if this, then that. If that, then this. Never, this is going to happen and it's all I'm looking for. Because then you're just going to be sat there either waiting or you're going to buy and it goes against you and you don't know how to get out, how to cut. Anyways, so that was Giko Cat. Doggo has been a very bullish one. Like, look, we analyzed this in the AFM group. I believe this was also a portfolio alert from ChainEDGE, but like I said, okay, this was a great entry because it gave sweeps on the bottom of that H4 range. So where are we at now with this? It's stair-stepping. It's holding structure. I mean, here's your H4 demand. It's a big range, and we can see it's already come down into it, so we can probably tighten it up to just be like here. I mean, the benefit of hindsight, right? I try to do all this stuff in real time before it happens or as it's unfolding, but when we're going back over something, if we can see what's happened, then we can tighten shit up. Well, it's continuing to do higher highs on H4, right? Like the H4 range is bullish. It's never lost structure. It came down into demand, and now it's working its way back up. So you're looking for this demand here as a inter-range or interim demand to be the next higher low to get back up to the all-time highs potentially, or at the very least, the top of this range. See what happens. You have to monitor and see, like, do you get some sweeps in here? There's not really a swing high, so actually you couldn't really get a sweep on H4, but H1, I'm sure that, yeah. So, maybe you get a sweep up here, and that might be a signal that it's softening. The trend is weakening. But for now, like, you're getting that higher low. So this could be a great entry. You're a little bit late, but what can you do? Still bullish. You're looking for it to get back to the top of that H4 swing high or beyond to new all-time highs. We shall see. Winter, here we go. Okay, so this has been one of the stronger coins over the last little while. It's bullish structure on H4. Starting to see some trouble up here, but it's a lot of chop occurring after this large move up. So let's clear it off, see what we've got. Let's go higher time frame, see if there's any. Okay, so there's nothing really to work on H12 other than we do have a swing point there. Be rough if it came down there, but hey, who knows? This is H4. Let's mark out a couple key levels. I'll look at how it's holding that. Here, and we have the all-time high. So H4. Here's your swing low. Here's your swing high for your range defining swing points on H4. Bullish range, higher highs. We have demand. Now demand's a little bit tricky on this one because the swing low is through an area of demand. So we can just highlight that whole area, but the swing low is what you want to hold on H4, which is done. It's swept it a couple times. Now it just needs a little bit more follow through and continuation. But it's still bullish. If you get a close below that H4 level, though, it's it starts to paint a different picture. But as of now, bulls have stepped in and defended that level. You just want to see, continuation up here. On H1, it's a lot of chop. It's difficult to sort of read here, other than you had a higher high close there on H1. And another one there. So maybe it's just looking for a higher low, like right here. This could be where it's like, if you're looking to get on board this coin on H1, this is a good area because you're with the high time frame trend. It's held this level as sweeps on H4. It's printing a stair-stepping pattern. So you're looking for an H1 higher low right here. So maybe this is your entry right now, like it's overlapping demand of H1 and H4. So pretty good area there. And you can see it's getting that sort of bias, like it was up and then sort of downwards chop, and now it's looking like it's starting to lean towards going back up, right? So I would look here, not even look. Like if you're looking to get on board, there's your trigger right there. H1 swing low, H1 swing high, it's an H1 higher high. So you want your higher low right there. If you're looking for an entry, now is it. Moving along. Fish in condom. How are we doing for time? Oh, we still have 18 of you here. Amazing. Amazing. And we're at an hour and a half. So I've got about 45 minutes-ish, and then I got to go. I think we can get through all of them. So fish in condom. Okay. I guess it's sort of like that smoking chicken fish vibes. H4, bullish. Key swing level. It's just been a lot of chop, I think. If you get something that comes down into here as a sweep, could be a good trigger. Or all the way into the demand. I mean, if it came all the way into demand, it's a long way down. But realistically, I would just outline this. Oops. Realistically, here's your H4 demand. Bottom of your H4 range. Here's where the higher high break occurred. This is bottom of your H4 range. Here's top of your H4 range. So it's bullish range. You're just looking for where or when is a higher low going to form. Maybe it's a sweep of this. Maybe it comes all the way down into demand. We can even throw a fib up and see what we're looking at. I mean, it's holding the pocket right now. It's tagged the 786 a few times. So maybe it doesn't even come down here. I don't know yet. But if it did, that would be a good trigger. And all the way down here in the red dead, I mean, it'd be looking kind of scary, but there is demand there, and it is holding H4 structure. So you have to see what happens once you get there. Apu Stasia. ETH coin. Oh, look at that. Okay, the last time I analyzed, it was working with some supply, but it's flipped that supply into bullish. So let's see what we've got now. Okay. There's your daily demand. Daily swing low. Daily swing high with the higher high break. Showing you bullish range continuation. So you're just looking for a higher low in here. Maybe if it tags this weekly level, like this level here was a weekly level, maybe if it comes and tags, that would be great, but you're already getting a reaction directly off demand, telling me both buyers are stepping in with either with market bids or they have limits set and ready to go. You know, ETH traders respect levels. One thing I love about ETH is that guys that trade on ETH know how to trade a chart. Well, it's respecting levels. So maybe this is your low here, but it's bullish. If it flips H1 bullish, you could look for a higher low, but really not much you can do right this minute because it's sort of already started the move. So if you're trying to get on board, how would you do that? Well, if it flips, so H1 and M15 are the same range, so I would wait for the H1 range to flip. So say you get a higher high on H1 above here, then you just look to buy. You get a high close above here. Say this does something like, well, then you look to buy. You look to buy somewhere here. You get the close above, you're looking to buy the higher low. We don't know where that's going to be yet, and if this is going to hold or not, so can't really say. But for now, it's looking constructive that that tag of daily demand, even on H1, was a good trigger. Like, do we have anything lower? Yeah, I mean, M15, okay, M15, you're starting to flip bullish with a close above here. I would still go off H1 though, given this is a daily chart. Like it could still close M15 bullish and still come back down. We don't know. But looking good. Apu is looking good. Roach, been a request. How are we doing for time? Okay, we're still good. I mean, not really much to say here right now, right? Like you're below. I don't know. I don't know what I'd do with this. If it gets back above this level, maybe you have a trade there, but right now, not much. Doge, Department of Government Efficiency. Okay, look at that. H12 into demand. Tag the bottom of the H12 range. Gave a reaction. And now you're looking for that continuation. So it's already started to unfold. How would you get on board now? Well, let's see. H1's pretty choppy. Let's see H4. Okay, so you get an H4 close above here, then you look for the higher low, right? Actually, it's right there. So if you get an H4 close above this level, it's happening in 20 minutes about. If it's another sweep, then you look for lower, but we just have to have patience. Wait to see if this is an H4 close above, then we'd look for our demand, which might be this. Closes above, you buy something here, right? But closes above, let the PA unfold for a swing high to happen, and then wait for your pullback, right? Like unless it does a quick tag in, but odds are you're going to get a swing high somewhere to create a higher low and then go. So you just have to wait. Wait to see what happens here. Melo, some of the lads and I in the group chat have been on a couple days ago. H4, bullish range. Sorry, I'm going to speed through these a little bit more and not go through the entire analysis per chart. Like I'm not going to wipe them all clean, especially when it's pretty clear and I've outlined now repeatedly what it is on this episode, the primary stuff that we look for. I will in future episodes, I'll always go over that stuff, but since I am a little bit shorter on time and we have a bunch of coins to get through, I'm just going to leave that up there. So we're in H4 bullish range. Swing low that created the high, creating a higher high above the previous swing high. Well, it's tagged this bottom of the range a few times. It had a reaction. Now, are you getting that reaction again? I'd wait to see. Wait for this Wait if this closes here as a sweep, which is looking, you know, And I didn't even tag it, but you're so close to the bottom of the range here that if you get close again, maybe you just buy that. Your risk is defined. Cut if you get below. You leave with a scratch, or you're going to capture the meat of that move, right? Not much more to say on this yet. Like, that's a pretty good area. And ETH respects levels. If majors don't decide to just fucking shit and then we nuke, like, I think you're good here. Oh, we're making actually pretty good time. We've only got a few more to go. Ciphered AI, Kai. This was a portfolio alert that came in yesterday from ChainEDGE. Not looking great. On utility plays, I really only want to be getting a portfolio alert, like, maybe the second day or third day into its life, once people have researched it and realized that it's a good project, not immediately off launch. And this alert came in immediately off launch, which just tells me that there's a lot of snipers and heavy profit. Because conditions have been fairly bullish on chain, snipers are active. Like, this just tells me that we got that alert really early, like almost immediately after it started trading. That's a lot of snipers heavily in profit. So I was skeptical, and I'm pretty sure I made note of that in the AFM TG group when I posted this. I was like, I don't know that I trust this. Nothing about the project or team. I have no intel. I don't really dig into FA. It's not my strong suit. I rely on other people much smarter than I am at digging into that stuff to tell me these things. But just from a purely technical perspective and looking at things like bundling and snipers and stuff like that involved, that it was low probability that I would want to trade this, and look at what we're having. So we'll just move along. Let's just get rid of this. I don't see any point in holding this. The market's telling us that it doesn't like this as a utility coin. It may rebound at some point, but no point in wasting our time on it. It's not the type of trades we're looking for. We did wdog, so we must be here at SCF. Has anything been moving up the list? No, we did all of those. We're down here, way down here. Whoa, brain fart. Lockin. Haven't seen this one requested in a little while. Let's take a look and see what we got. A bit of a muddy chart because we have this weekly demand that we've been in. This has been drawn out for a while, and it's, yes, daily had been bearish. It's still bearish daily. That overhead supply on daily continuing to act as supply. Look, we got up into it again and rejecting. Even though the weekly is bullish, this coin is, it's a tough one to be a part of. I mean, look at how reliable signal on a daily time frame is. Even though the weekly, that's an even higher time frame, yes, it gave you bullish reasoning to get in down here. The daily is just continuing to give you this overhead supply that's just holding it back. So what to do? I gotta say, I don't really love it. I think it's maybe wants to come back down to the bottom of this daily range. Like, I'll be as subjective as possible. Like, you got to close above there, I guess, right? Yeah. You got to close above there, but into the top end of the daily bearish range where your probability decreases with each stair step, especially into supply, that, maybe you get a sweep here. Maybe that's what you're looking for, is a daily sweep there as a trigger. A sweep there into this demand. Maybe that's what you're looking for. Maybe that's what you can base your trade thesis off of. Right? Like, maybe that's what you're looking for. Sorry, this chart's looking a little bit muddy because there's so much going on here, but your trade thesis, I mean, look at this. Even into that overhead supply, you had daily swing fails with these sweeps, right? Like, pretty good signal that this supply was going to be supply. These are things we look for when we get up into areas like that, especially when we know what our high time frame structure is. Yes, weekly bullish, but daily bearish, which is still very high time frame signal for shitcoins. So we're getting up into supply on a bearish daily range. Signals like that tell you the trade's done. Now we're looking for what happens here. Not much to do at the moment. Pod, point of dog. Been a fun one the other day. Fun meme. Let's just clearly, we'll start fresh on this one to see what we've got, because it had been a bit muddy and it had given some of the guys a little bit of trouble while we were analyzing it. Okay, so my initial analysis had been that it made an H4 lower low there, and I made a lower low close there. But I was giving it benefit of the doubt for an H1 bullish range, but I hadn't drawn out a primary analysis, and I said, well, here's your H4 range. But even then, we could see that we had an interim range that was capping price. Right? Actually, is that a sweep or is that? Yeah, okay. Oh, no, that's not what I wanted to do. So we had the lower low here. Here was your primary H4 range, was this. This is your primary bearish H4 range. You had an interim swing level that was also capping price. So I was using that as a guide, as a range to sort of trade, which had worked out for a time on H1. If we pop down to H1, on H1. So we had some conflicting signal and we were figuring out how to trade this, and we got a little lost in the group. And then I sort of pointed out a few things. I was like, okay, well, you had an H1 higher high, even though it's counter trend. It's like you had an H1 higher high with an H1 sweep here. I said, okay, well, maybe this is an H1 range that you're trading. And I'd seen it in other groups, people posting like, oh, it's testing this region, it just wants to break through. Well, no, this is why you do your primary high time frame analysis first, and then everything else after that is secondary. But I was like, okay, here's a range. So as it comes down to the bottom, maybe it's worth a punt. It was momentarily, but then it failed. And this isn't to toot my own horn or anything like that. It's just to really drill home the fact that primary high time frame analysis dictates the overall trend, and you want to be trading with trend. You can catch and counter move, provided you're getting in as low to the bottom of that range for the counter trend as possible in a bearish range to try and catch a range play from the bottom of the range, top of the range. As long as you're getting in as close to the bottom of that range as possible on a counter trend move, you have some room to breathe. But overall, your high time frame analysis is bearish. And now that's failed. So let's bring it back to H4. Range high. Range low. Why is that the range low right there and not this swing level? Well, because this was the swing that created the lower low. And it wasn't until you got the close below, not just the wick, you need the close below the level to confirm a market structure shift. Well, that was the close. And then you have a tiny little swing level there. So that was the bottom of your bearish range. These are the little nuances that you learn over time. That I just, over time, you'll start recognizing them the more that you sit with these charts and follow the system as I sort of lay out. But it's little nuances like that that can make the difference. So this is the bottom of your bearish H4 range. H4 is trying to come down into it. So maybe if you get a tag at the bottom of the H4 range, you have a thesis to go back to the top of the range. But for now, you're just kind of waiting, right? Like if you're in here and you're looking for sweep levels, just remember your counter trend. So odds are you're going to still be in bearish, even if you get a sweep. Like you can try and get a counter trend off of something like that, but look, you had a lower low close there, right? So it's why the high time frame trend primary analysis is the more important analysis to base your thesis off of. So I think you're just waiting to see what happens if we get a sweep at this range low. Not much to do right now. Chinese stock market, ssec. Chinese coins has been sort of hot the last little bit. Let's just clear this all the way off because why not? So what do I see? A couple levels that stand out. There's one there. There's one there. It's H4 bullish range. Your swing low is quite a bit lower, which is unfortunate. Like the bottom of your H4 range is there. top of your H4 ranges here. I think I even shared this analysis with my buddy Too Tall the other day. I said it needs to unfold a bit more. We have an H4 fair value gap right in here. When do I use fair value gaps? Well, when there's a large area of displacement with a segment of the candle body without the candle preceding or what is it for after? I never know, but before and after, preceding and was it proceeding? I don't know. Without activity from those candles within, well, then you get a fair value gap, especially on newer coins when rapid displacement happens. So then what you're looking for is, okay, what would a trigger be? Well, maybe you get some sort of sweep of that. It hasn't quite come down into it yet, and it's getting a reaction off of the fair value gap, so maybe you're not going to get it, but maybe it's a sweep of that. Maybe it's lower time frame, seeing what happens here. Okay, so you had an M15 structure shift right here. And you got a higher high there on M15. Why is that the higher high? Well, this was the high that created the low, creating a lower low on M15. There's your higher high break. Here is your M15 demand. Maybe this is your trigger right now. Maybe that's your buy right now on this coin. Seems like a good enough trigger to me. In the past, last time you had an M15 flip, and you had a higher high there, look at that, how that responded, right? So maybe you're going to get something similar right now. Moving along. Rocky. Yeah. Was it Munar? Munar, were you the one that was asking me about this one in the chat? Yeah, buddy. I mean, that daily lower low close, and now you're getting follow through, right? Like as soon as it lost there. I think you said on Photon it hadn't lost the level. Well, this seems to be one of those instances where deck screener is the one that people are paying attention to because it closed below, and now you're getting rejection off of that. Not much more to say here. You got to watch and let this unfold now. Oh, Munar says it wasn't me. So someone in the AFM chat asked about Radu. What's your handle in the chat, Radu? If you don't mind sharing. I mean, if you want to maintain anonymity, it's fine. You can tell me in the chat and I'll be able to figure it out, no problem. But okay, so buddy, it's definitely lost the daily. Pretty clear now when you look at it, right? It's Tarzan. There we go. Tarzan. Hey, buddy. Right. Your PFP is the same. Fuck me. It's been a long week. It's been a long week. Going to be longer, especially now that I'm on full dad duty for the next few days. But regardless. Okay, buddy. You can see clear on this deck screener chart. Like daily made a lower low, and now it's rejecting right off that supply. I'm assuming you're in the coin and wondering what to do. Well, I think if you get something up into here, you look to cut because at some point it'll get a bounce, or you just cut and move on and wait for it to flip bullish. Right? Yeah, I mean, lower lows you're getting on H4. Maybe that was, okay. Maybe you'll get a bounce here. Maybe you'll get a relief with that H1 sweep. Maybe you'll get a, up into here. Maybe it'll come into the tag at the bottom of there again, and then I'll monitor what the H1 does there. If you get a higher high on H1, maybe you could start to think, okay, maybe this is going to turn around from here, but until then, it's bearish until I've proven otherwise, right? Cryptify AI. I don't like that name. Cryptify AI sounds scammy. I'm not saying it is. I have no inside information on any of these utility plays. I just chart up as I see it. This was also a portfolio summary alert from ChainEDGE. I do think on these utility plays, if you're getting an alert within the first hours, a bit of a red flag for me. Doesn't mean it can't do well and it's not a good project. It just means a lot of snipers that are very much in profit. Okay, so I'm watching this right now. Not much else to do, right? Like this is your H4 range at the moment. It had made a lower low here. Like a candle like that, that's all sniping, you can't really base much analysis off of. So like, I'm not going to think about that as structure. I'm going to think about what's happened since the sniper. Like, look at that. It's an out. Like where do I even, like, yeah, even on M15, it's just all snipers. So I'm not even going to fucking think about that. I just look at this now. What is this happening? What's happening since the snipers? And it's down only, right? Lower lows. So maybe if you could sweep here, the reason. And maybe if it closes, like, okay, yeah, that's your range. You do have an interim level here, but that would literally be the definition of diddling in the middle. So I don't know. I think you want to sweep, or you just say, I'm close enough to the bottom of this range, I'll buy this now, and if it goes below, I cut. But other than that, I wouldn't. It's low interest of low interest to me. You could check holdings on ChainEDGE, see if they're still holding, if the snipers are out, stuff like that. But other than that, not much to do. Core tensor. What is this line here? Jeez. Okay, core tensor. Let's see what we got. I mean, it's a pretty bullish looking chart. An H12 swing high. It's attempting to make a higher high over. 4 hours till close. Still a while. H4. Maybe it's about to close as a higher high in H4 in 2 minutes. It seems likely. In which case, okay, I'd be saying, okay, here's my H4 demand. I mean, it's pretty likely. I don't think it's going to close below now, so let's just call it. Let's just call it. This is going to be a higher high. Here's your H4 swing low. We don't know where the swing high is going to form yet. Let's just say that that's the higher high. It's got 2 minutes. I'm going to say it's high probability that that closes above. We're waiting for the swing high to form, and then we look to buy the higher low somewhere, either as a retest of here or here. In the meantime, not much to do. Bullish chart, though. Looks good. I think my buddy Orion has been writing some threads about this. I think he's bullish on this coin. So Orion, if you are, there's some analysis for you. I don't know if you're watching the streams, but there's some analysis on core AI or core tensor. So it must be part of the Tau ecosystem. Okay. We've made it through all of those. So there was one request then. PowerNap says snagged a tiny bit on bottom, but thinking of adding. To which? To that utility play that I just talked about? Okay, you had one question here: is where is invalidation on the Chinese SEC coin? It is a long way down. At least for the bottom of the H4 range, right? It is a long way down. But based off of this M15 trigger, invalidation is here, around 863K. So yeah, it's like a 50% haircut. It's a bit of a distance, but it's what we had to work off. Not much else we can do, right? Check a few other questions. Yeah, about SEC. So that's, I mean, that's just is what it is, right? You're not always going to get the best risk reward on these entries. It's just wherever the higher low decides to form. Someone I think asked for Aura. So let's do Aura real quick, and then I think we're going to wrap up. By the way, guys, I do appreciate each and every one of you that's been showing up to these streams, a lot of familiar faces, but also getting some newer faces, which is great to see that the community is growing and we're reaching a broader audience with every stream. I mean, it's all about consistency, right? Consistency in everything. Consistency in running your analysis. Oh, we just got the H4 hour close. H4 closes. Persistence, consistency, repetition. These are all things that we're all things that we look at that are important. And I'm trying to grow this, grow the Daily Edge brand, grow the AFM community, grow the YouTube and our media. So it's all interconnected pieces, and consistency and repetition. It's the name of the game in everything in life, right? Like, what's that famous saying? It's like 10,000 hours, right? And then but hopefully through my 10,000 hours, it cuts your time in half or even lower. I mean, my 10,000 hours was actually a lot less than that, because it was the 10,000 hours of the people that came before me, and just taking what they did and teaching it to me so that I can now pay that forward. This is all, it's just passing it along. And with each step, adding things, removing things that do and do not work. Specifically to, my system is very much tweaked for on-chain, just based off of sitting with on-chain shitcoins for so many hours and charting them and trading them, that I know what to look for, and making the little bits of changes here and there. Okay, Aura. It had made a higher high. I think last stream we were here, and I was like, maybe if this is a sweep. It did sweep, but it ended up closing below. So a bit unfortunate that would have been a shitty trigger. But it came all the way down into demand and now reacting. There's your daily bullish range, daily demand. It came in there. Like, there's not much to do right now. You're just hoping that this gets a higher high close and not some sort of sweep again, right? Not much to do right now. I mean, we could go lower time frame and say, where's my stair stepping? Okay. But with every stair step, the closer you get to a range high, the less you want to be doing that, right? But you had an H4 close above just right now. So maybe you're looking for another higher low, apologies. Maybe you're looking for another H4 higher low somewhere in here. But just realize you are getting closer to the daily range high, which has given it trouble. I'm not saying it's going to happen. Once it gets there, it could just shoot right through and close above, and then you have a completely new higher high on daily and then something new to work with structure-wise. But you're going to keep getting higher highs, higher lows. Like you get those stair steps. Like, yes, you can get those parabolic moves, the parabola, but that's a different chart to be taking a trade off. This is an older chart with a lot of history. Is it going to get a parabola? It would take quite a bit to do that, right? I'm not saying I can't. I'm just saying right now, like you're working with stair stepping, one step at a time. So maybe something in here for your higher low to go higher high. Okay. And okay, I got one more. If you still have time, can I look at XMW? Yeah, you know what? I do have a few minutes. We got through that pretty good. I am pretty proud at how fast, or impressed with how fast we were able to get through all of those charts within the 2-hour time frame. We're just hitting that 2-hour mark now. So maybe I should get in the habit of speaking a little bit quicker. I mean, it looks great. H12 demand. This was a daily range. Like it's a daily range, but daily demand's all the way down here. So then I popped down to H12. I was like, okay, here's an H12 range. Came into H12 demand. Look at that. Even gave an H12 sweep. A lot of good signal. H12 sweep into H12 demand. Bounced. Good signal. Now you just want to see some more follow through. If you're in the trade, nothing to worry about really. You're just wanting it to get above here so you can make those higher highs again to make the new higher high. But for now, it's looking fine. Like, yes, there's a lot of consolidation here. Is this distribution? I don't know, because look what happened here. Sweeps work both ways. You had an H4 sweep there. Maybe it's going to come back down lower before finding the higher low. But for now, it's looking good. Not much more to say about that one. Do you have any other questions on it specifically, Racing Lab? If not, then I'm going to wrap up. Because we are at the 2-hour mark, and it'd be great to wrap this up at a 2-hour mark instead of pushing past as we always do. So what I'm going to start doing is running through my babble that we do every stream. Let's go back. Once again, this is the Daily Edge presents Astrology for Men with 0xRapture. I am 0xRapture, and I will chart any shitcoin with the pulse, provided it has a little bit of chart history that I can go off of. Any shitcoin with the pulse. Let me remove this screen. Let me put up this one in the background, even though my mug is covering over it. Let me do all the marketing blah, blah, blahs, as always. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment if you're enjoying these live streams. It helps me know that I'm doing something good. It also helps to get the channel in front of more eyes. It hits those algorithms. So please do like, subscribe, and comment. Really helpful if if you're not subscribed and you're finding value in this, subscribe, because then you'll always know when a live stream is going to be on. You'll never miss one. And they're all left up as recording so that you can watch it anytime in the future. And even though the coin-specific analysis may not be useful in that moment, the overall systems and strategies and techniques that I teach in every stream is useful because it is that repetition. Put in the reps and it'll start to become second nature, and you'll start noticing all the things that I notice without me having to put it out for you. Like some of the guys in the chat are doing. Like, I've been really, really impressed with the speed at which some of these guys are learning the stuff. The guys showing up every day, asking questions, making mistakes, not afraid to make mistakes, and then learning from it, taking that, internalizing it, making notes, tweaking to try and attempt again. And that's all the stuff is, right? So don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment if you enjoy what we do. Don't forget thedailyedge.com/subscribe, daily newsletter delivered straight to your inbox for free, giving you actionable insights, intel, and information about the markets from the previous day, written by the one and only legendary onchain wizard. Again, thedailyedge.com/subscribe. And we're also brought to you by ChainEDGE, ChainEDGE.io, which we are an on-chain analytics platform tracking the top 0.01% of DEX wallets by profitability. We track real-time flows. We have this wonderful panel called the alpha stream, which is a real-time transaction table just of the wallets that we track, which you can filter by different criteria that suits your needs, like the profitability of the wallet, their win rate, the size of the transaction, the age of the token, the market cap, a bunch of different factors you can tweak. As well, as I mentioned a few times, we have these new portfolio alerts that get sent out, and the attention dashboard, the snipers panel. Like, we've got a lot. Social data, like, we've got a lot incorporated into this platform that split up and acquired through different platforms. You need a bunch of different platforms to acquire it, but it would cost you many more monies than what we charge you for a monthly or yearly subscription. So do consider subscribing, becoming a member of ChainEDGE. If you go into the into the description, there is a ref code that you can get 10% off your lifetime membership to ChainEDGE, whether that be a monthly, quarterly, or yearly membership that you sign up for each time you renew, provided you do not go out of renewal. You'll get 10% off your lifetime membership. So consider using that. And also, other links in the description would be links to our Twitters, both the Daily Edge, ChainEDGE, Onchain Wizard, myself, links to the Daily Edge Telegram channel, which we do updates in there. We post our newsletter and other little tidbits and stuff like that. It's a little less active because the ChainEDGE Discord is really where a lot of that activity takes place. And then more recently, the Astrology for Men TG, which there's links for as well. In the description, which is an open group, is where a lot of the activity is taking place these days, and where I'm spending a lot more of my time. So do check all of that out. There's also a link in there for my 0xRapture code. It's not an official partnership or affiliation. It's just my personal ref code that if you use gets you 10% off your trading fees, as well as puts a it's very tiny little kickback based off of volume towards me, which helps me put on these shows. So if you are looking for a new trading venue, a new terminal, consider using 0x. It has some killer features. That being said, I am also in the process of beta testing our ChainEDGE terminal. Wink, wink. It's not out yet. It's going to be a little bit of time still, maybe about maybe about 45 to 60 days away, a month and a half, 2 months. But we're thoroughly testing it. I'm testing that thing daily, finding all the kinks, trying to get it to be the terminal that I've always wanted, which is a dream for me to be able to test this thing from the ground floor and give input from the perspective of a daily trader. Charts are important to me. You guys clearly see that. So the chart and its accuracy and timing is very important. Execution. We want our execution for trades to be on par with Banana for ETH, and for Solana, 0x or Photon. Both have great execution speeds. Well, these are our targets that we're working towards, and we're getting pretty damn close, let me tell you. And then after that, integrations with things like our data and other features to make the experience seamless, where you can use ChainEDGE to go from discovery to digging in the data to buy within seconds if you want to. So that is the dream, is to have a one-paneled approach where everything takes place within ChainEDGE. So that's what we're working on, and that's future things. But the terminal will be coming sometime in the next within the next 2 months. So keep an eye out for that. But in the meantime, like I said, there's that 0xRapture code. Again, I want to thank everyone that's been showing up to each of these streams. It's great to see the familiar faces. Let's take one more look through the comments. Hermit says, nice one. Thanks, Rap. Appreciate you being here, my good friend Genghis, one of the admins from the AFMTG group. Racing Lab says, thanks so much. Thank you, too. I appreciate you being here. New face. I don't know if you're in the group at all, but if you are, pop in and say hello, and it'd be great to have you in there. But it's a PFP and a name that I don't recognize from the streams yet, so thank you so much for joining us. Power Naps, another one of our admins. And also, guys, anyone in the group, if you ever have questions, look to these admins, because they've shown remarkable growth in their learnings of the techniques and grasp of the concepts that I'm teaching. I mean, they're in there answering questions all day long. So please give them a shout. Thank them when you see them in there. They're doing this out of the kindness of their heart. Like my dream is to grow this so that it gets to a point where we're a team of people that this can be a potential job in the future. But for now, they're doing it out of the kindness of their heart, because they enjoy being there and because I'm providing out of the kindness of my heart and they're learning directly from me. So it's a win-win, you know. But I do appreciate these guys showing up and being on board as admins. Will Is says, thanks, Rap. Well, thank you for being here. Radu, Mr. Tarzan, another one of our admins. Thank you so much for being here, buddy. I appreciate you. Munar, appreciate you too, buddy. Great to have you here. Another one of our admins. So yeah, do thank those guys when you see them in there. You know, they're watching my back and helping the process and helping the group grow and helping provide answers and insights when I'm not always available. But I generally always will circle back and answer questions as well once I see them or get into the chat. And I'm in there a lot. Like I'm increasingly spending more and more time in there. So, you know, if you pop in there, you're going to run into us and come say hello. It's fine if you just want to be a casual participant and don't like to say much in the group or anything like that. Perfectly fine. You know, it can be overwhelming to get in there and start chatting, especially if you're new in your journey and you're not sure. But that's the best way to learn is get in there and ask questions, because we're not going to bite and we're not going to make fun of you. We're not going to say anything rude or anything like that. We'll give you our honest opinion and show you where we might do something different or let you know that you're doing something right. So, you know, pop on in. I think I've ranted enough. Told you guys before, I don't consider myself much of a speaker in real life, but for some reason on these streams, I tend to chat my ass off. So I do appreciate each and every one of you. Again, this is The Daily Edge presents Astrology for Men. I am 0xRapture. And until next time, have a great one. Hopefully we have a nice bit of trading action this weekend. Hopefully the majors are chilling here. It looks like BTC might be finding some stability in that demand. It would be great if we had some bullish conditions for onchain this weekend. And with that, I'll leave you with music, as I always do. Thanks, everyone, for being here. I appreciate each and every one of you.